Outlier customers, you've heard a lot about the Outlier platform, and you've heard a lot about TradingView. But there's also another option for charting as well as actually performing your transactions. There's a brokerage tool from Charles Schwab called Thinkorswim. And I'm here with my fellow Outlier University graduate, Dave, who is the brilliance behind the indicator that you're going to learn about today. Now, if you are interested in watching this video later, make sure that you go over to Outlier Training with Joe and you head over to the playlist section and then the Outlier Training playlist. In here, you're going to find the videos that we worked on before, these two here, and these talk about the Thinkorswim custom indicator and how it's kind of evolved and how you can do things like labeling and charting and journaling and things of that nature. And yeah, we're going to find that Dave is constantly working on this indicator, and it's always seeing some improvement. But first off, Dave, let's tell people how they can get it. So if you're an Outlier customer and you're on Discord, where could you get this indicator?
You're going to go to the frequently asked questions in Discord, and we have a drop down over there for Think or Swim. And inside of that, you have the I call it the DW Super TOS Super Trend Indicator or Super Indicator. It's in there. It gets all of our position sizing. It gets the different ATR levels, helps you identify everything, and it is highly, highly customizable to you, the trader. So be sure to take a look at the video that Joe and I did a couple months ago on that, because it's phenomenal. It works very, very well. We also have the order blocks in there as a standalone indicator just to help out as well. There's also a value zone indicator in there with it as well. Now, with that said, we're going to show a sneak peek at the end. I've been working on an order blocks 3.0, which is a little bit different. I know this may be the first time you're hearing about this one, Joe.
It is. It is.
I've been working on it. I've been taking this, some of the downtime that we've had here in trading and going through, reviewing a lot of different things. I'm going to show a sneak peek. It does display a little differently, but it's more accurate and seems to be working great. Although I really want the market to actually start trending again so we can get out of this generating order blocks everywhere.
Yeah.
We need it to actually go up, but I'm not too far from releasing it into the wild. So.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. We're in late March 2026 right now, and we went from a sideways consolidation into a downtrend. We haven't found the bottom yet, which means as a trend trader who's looking for an asset price to increase, we're just not there. So I have been sitting in cash, as we hear Chris do at the same time, when the market is just not trending the way we need it to go.
Yeah, and it is not. I mean, as we're speaking right now, I'm looking up at it. We are down $4 and almost 50 cents today. Actually, I just hit it, 450 on the SPY for the day right now. It's continuing down. It's trying to find the bottom still, and who knows where it is. But that's the beauty. Sit in cash, wait for it to go find bottom. Let all the suckers buy the dip, and we'll catch it on the way back up. It'll still be there.
That's right. Somebody needs to establish that bottom, and it's not going to be me.
Not going to be me.
So let's just have a look at the plans that we see Chris trade with, right? So he starts out with plan M, and he looks for all of his signals, and he starts with that because it's the most profitable plan. Now, if Outlier is not showing him any signals, he's going to move over to plan ETF because it's the second most profitable plan. And again, in this market, he's not going to have any entries. So he's going to be doing what we just described, which is plan sit in cash, which is where you hear Chris talk about SGov, Treasury Bond ETF, or using your broker's settlement fund. So that brings us to how Thinkorswim fits in. So Outlier being used for the signal is not a broker platform. You can't actually transact stocks, shares, ETFs, options. You can't do any of those transactions inside Outlier. That's where you get your signals. So Dave, if you could let us know in that regard, why would someone choose to use Thinkorswim as opposed to Outlier or TradingView?
Well, you know, Thinkorswim is different. when we look at this, Thinkorswim's user interface is old. It really is. It's not as flashy as TradingView. Excuse me. It's not as flashy as TradingView or Ninja Trader or Robinhood, some of the others. It lacks that panache. Okay. To me, I call it rouge on a pig. The horsepower behind Thinkorswim is what makes a real difference. The ability to use ThinkScript to code things, the ability for the in-depth analysis that a lot of the other systems are lacking, the user customizable nature, the customization that you can go through and do on Thinkorswim is really way above and beyond a lot of those other programs. The horsepower behind it is just amazing. You know, this is a 90s Miata with a fantastic supercharged engine underneath the hood. This is the super.
Awesome. Yeah. Now I use Thinkorswim because my broker of choice, which is Charles Schwab, has that as an opportunity to, to interact with a GUI, and I can find my options chains and the performance of my accounts. I do agree with you in that it's not maybe necessarily pretty, but it's so feature rich. It has so many features that I don't know most of them. And honestly, at my current situation, I don't need to know all of them. It's very helpful when guys like you design these indicators that kind of reflect the plans that we're learning about and allow me an opportunity to journal my trades in one interface.
Yeah. And that's really the benefit and the strength of it is there is so much out there. There's areas of Thinkorswim I'm just now even starting to begin to explore because it's that 0.1% of traders use pairs trading. How many people even know that that's a thing inside of Thinkorswim?
Yeah.
People don't. The education tools, a lot of the other tools that are in there, just their base indicators. There's hundreds of them in there before you go and make your own and start generating things. It's an amazing tool and it's ever evolving. And the one thing I will say is that Thinkorswim, they really do listen to what the users are saying. They do make changes. They make upgrades on a regular basis. And they're not as great at communicating them. Sometimes you got to hunt and find them, but there's a lot of good things out there on it.
Awesome. Well, I think with that, Dave, if we want to kick right into it, if you want to open up Thinkorswim and let's see what this thing looks like. Yeah.
So we are going to open up now, and I have to look around my camera. I apologize. We are going to open up on. Okay, bear with me. I have to move a few windows around here. And for those that don't know at home, I run 4 separate screens on my computer. So I'm always looking away at a different screen when something else is happening. So, and for those that don't know, in the chat right now, I have posted a few comments on the YouTube side. My screen name is actually Trading to Win -AZ for Arizona. So that is me responding to you guys in the chat over there. But let's start off with just a good old basic chart. So this is under the charts tab. We're under the flexible grid. Let's put the SPY in there. That's something all of us know. This is how it's going to pretty much open up for you. When you first get Thinkorswim, this is a basic candle chart. You'll notice there's no studies. There's nothing on it. We just have the candles. We have the price. We have the dates underneath. So we have the timeline, the price line. That's it. Pretty straightforward, pretty boring overall. So I want to walk through, let's make a few little tweaks that start to make a difference in how you use it. We're going to build a style real quick, and then I'm going to show you how to actually make a more usable flexible grid to do outlier analysis with. So let's start off by going to the settings tab up here, which is the gear. The first thing we want to do is we're going to go to the price axis. So this is going to be the up and down on there. I personally prefer an expansion area of 20 and an expansion area of 10 down below. You'll see why in a second. Time axis, you'll notice on our chart right now, it goes all the way to the right edge. Okay, well, that's great, but how do I know that's really the last candle? So I always add in a buffer. So we click apply right there, and now all of a sudden I can see I'm looking at the most current candle on the chart. It also dropped it down off the top and it pulled it up off the bottom. So it did compress it just a little bit in here. But now when it's in automatic mode, which is what this setting is right here, you have auto or manual, because I can also click and I can drag and I can make things look weird and move them around. When it's in automatic mode, you don't have to touch it for the rest of the day or the rest of the week, however you want to do it. It just follows. It gives you your buffer on both sides. So if that price runs away and goes up, it's going to run away and go up. It's still going to show on your chart. So those are the basic chart settings I always start off with. Every single chart, every time I look at it, I add that in. Now, what do we need for outlier? We need to add in a few things here. So let's add in, and for all of you, this is one of my pet peeves with Thinkorswim. We need to add the exponential moving average. Now, you'd think that might be titled EMA, but it isn't. You have adaptive EMA, you have a displaced EMA, you have all of those. What we want is actually moving average exponential. This is where it starts to show its age a little bit. Now I'm going to put 3 of them in there. Why? Because we use 3. We have the 10 EMA. So we're going to put the first one at 10, and I'm going to change the color to green because I like street lights. It's easy for me on all my charts to remember that. So we're going to put that as the green line is 10. We're going to put the 20. I'm going to make that yellow. And again, this is just my personal preference, but it's easy to remember. And then I'm going to put the 50. So we have the 50 now. Scroll that up just a bit, click OK. And we're going to start off by applying. Now, when we apply, now we can see our familiar 10, 20, and 50 EMA lines. And as you can all see, for me, they're in the wrong orientation. We need to get those up. I really want to see the green above the 20, above the 50. I'm really tired of seeing this.
Yeah, it's rough, isn't it? Now, if you're trying to set up your charts like Chris, you may have that 10 being blue, the black, which is the 20, and the red, which is the 50. But just a little minor thing to pay attention to.
Exactly. And this is how your preference. How are you going to remember what these are? I look at in any given day, because I day trade as well. Okay, I'm not just an outlier. I day trade. I make a large portion of my living in the market. I use the green, yellow, red for consistency for me because it works for me. Because I put other lines on charts like VWAPs. I put my own trend lines. My charts start to get very, very colorful after a while. So I need a standardized, differentiation between them. And that's what I've developed as my style. The beauty is, as you just saw, you can create any style you want in Thinkorswim. So we just went in and we just created this. Now, I want to point out here, because everybody says, on Monday, it was, wow, look, we're coming back up. We're going to be bullish. Well, guys, always, always, always zoom out on your chart. Okay, if we look here, the low that we had on Friday, 644, let's go all the way over to here. We are all the way back really in August at that same price level. This entire area here on the chart is an area of consolidation. It's a wide area consolidation. It's 50 points wide, but that's less than 10%. So we're still in that consolidation mode. So, I'm not excited about anything in the market yet. Now, you can see I'm zooming in and out. I'm hitting my control key and I'm zooming in and out. I can hit control and I can roll the mouse in and out again. So you can, use other keys to quickly navigate and move around. Now, we're still missing order blocks. So let's put some order blocks on. Now, order blocks, I want to show this a little bit differently. When you download a link from Outlier, the different trends, you're going to have a link come up. I want to walk through adding this link into Thinkorswim. So I already have it in there, but I wanted to show you we're going to cut and paste this. So I just hit in the background, I hit Control C to copy this. We're going to come up here to the big gear icon and we're going to open a shared item. So anytime you add something new, a link, this is how you're going to do it. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to hit Control V to paste it. I'm going to preview it, and it's order blocks, in this case 2.0, and I want to open it. It's going to come in as order blocks 2.0. We're going to import it. Now, I just got a message on my other screen saying, am I sure I want to overwrite this? Yes, because I already have it on my computer, but I wanted to walk everybody through that. Now, it says the order blocks was successfully imported, and it moved us over to the Tools tab. So anything you download is going to show up over here in Tools. So anything I've shared, anything I've received, it's all over here. So let's go back to our flexible grid chart now. And now I'm going to add order blocks 2.0. So we're going to add that to the chart. Now, this is where the new order block system is coming in. As you can see, we have order blocks all the way back here. We have order blocks over here. You know, we know there's order blocks in here. We know there's stuff in here. This is one of the issues in the older version and how it was calculating and how we were looking at things. This is why I've gone forward and we've updated it. But we just added it in. So that's fine. We've got that. I'm going to add now, I was going to save this to the end, but let's throw in order blocks 3.0. And I have to look around my camera. We're going to turn that one off. Let's apply that. Now, the chart gets busy, and that's because of how these order blocks are being generated behind the scenes. Okay. So basically, an order block is created. It then has to expire at a certain point because a new one is created. So that's why we've kind of got these lines that zip down and come over. But what we have is we have a very clear order block sitting up above. Now, this is where the new one I think gets interesting. I have it calculating on the back end the rough volume of that order block. So this order block up here is sitting at 100% because none of it has been absorbed. Now, the bullish order block, our support, which is actually, it will reprint down here, it's at 78%. It actually has been eaten up just a little bit. Actually, it might be grabbing this one right here. It's been eaten up a little bit. So we've lost some support. We're at 78%. When that gets to zero, that order block goes away. But it takes into account the volume, it takes into account the time that it's in there, and tries to come up with a rough model to say the order block has this much life left. It also goes through and calculates based on a blended average. So this one, the blended, mixes retail order blocks with institutional order blocks, and you can blend the calculations together, or you can go straight retail, you can go straight institutional. Retail really aren't that big. That's where you're going to get a lot of hype back in the, oh goodness, I just went blank on it. The GameStop days, you'd have a lot of retail jumping in, creating order blocks and stuff like that. This new model creates multiple different ways to calculate it. You can calculate based on just the body, the wicks, but it will go through and it will try to identify the institutional buys versus the retail buys and create a more dynamic order block system. So that's a good way to do that. Now, this works great for us. Let's zoom in down here. So we see our order blocks. We see, some support, which we've blown right through. But even blowing right through, it says we still haven't absorbed it. We went through this so fast, it's not fully absorbed yet. So it's still remaining there. So we've created this now. Let's knock that off a little bit and widen it out. So now that we've created our screen, we could go in and we could save this flexible grid. And you got a typical pop-up that says we're saving it. It's on my other screen. So we've gone through and we've saved it now. So I have it. This flexible grid is the Outlier podcast. Well, that's great for one stock. What if I want to look at 8? What if I want to look at more? Let's create some more windows here. Now, first of first of all, I want to save this real quick. I want to save the style before we get too much further, because this style saves the settings that we have here for this particular grid. It saves the studies, it saves the indicators, all of this, it saves all of that. And we'll come back to that. I'll show you why. To create more, we're going to come up here to our little 9 grid, and we're going to say we want to customize this. So now you see I've got this pop-up right in the middle. You can add up, and then you can add to the side. So let's go from here. Let's go to 8. 2, 4, 2, 4. So now we have 8 of them. Now, I want to turn off the sidebars. Okay, I want the most real estate for my chart that I can get. Goodness, excuse me. Now we're going to turn off the customized grid. Now we get our screens back. So now this is where I think it gets fun. We have 8 different windows here. If I wanted to, I could go in and I could manually type in, Apple. I could manually come over here and type in, Google. This will take forever because now then I have to go in, I have to add my symbols. I have to do all of this. This takes forever. I created a quick list over here of symbols. This is from the outlier run this morning. This is the top 8 based on the outlier signal return. Now, you'll see I have a watch list right here underneath. If you come in and you click on that, you can import to the watch list, paste symbols from your clipboard, and click enter. So now I have a watch list with all 8 of those symbols.
Dave, we need a pro tip button, because that definitely was a pro tip.
This is a huge pro tip. So everybody, let me walk through what I do, and we can go into this in another video. I cut and paste the list out of Outlier. I take that, I put that into ChatGPT, and I then go in ChatGPT and I say, please sort these based on the outlier signal return. Because I've already done my screener settings. I already know I'm getting the best of the best, but now I want to rank the best of the best. So then I can take whatever number I want. I want the top 10, I want the top 20, doesn't matter. But I can take those in and I can put them through a cut and paste, ask for just, when you get your final list, say, now give me just the tickers only, and it'll give you a list. Copy them out of ChatGPT or Gemini or whoever you want to use, and then import them just like I did over here, import them into that preset watch list that you have. Now, if I want to import these, by the way, if I grab a list I did yesterday, you notice it also says replace current symbols. So I can flush yesterday's list and put today's list in. I don't need to create a new watch list every day, but that gets me that. But now I come up over here. Let's get that off so we can expand out. I come up over here, load symbols to the cells from my personal and my watch list of outlier 326. Oh, I guess I only had 7. So let's put the SPY in here. I guess I only had 7 in that list. So now we put that in there. But now we have a problem. You notice I've got what I want to see over here, but I don't have the settings on all of the others. Okay, this is another pro tip, guys. So I'm going to make life easy. I'm going to maximize this one cell. Okay, so we just blew up that cell that we were working on. I'm going to go to the settings button, and I'm going to go to my tools. And I'm going to say I want my tools on each chart. Okay, we're going to apply. And we're going to click OK. So now you see that drop down. When I come up and I hit the drop down, I have some choices. So let's add a button. We're going to add the style that we just created. In this case, the 326 Outlier podcast. We're going to add that. And I'm going to drag this up to the top because I want this to show on all my screens. And you know what? Let's go. We're going to move this down. We're going to move this. Come on, move down. Thank you. We're going to move that down. We're going to move that down. Okay. So we're going to save this now. So we saved it. It's on there. Now, how do I get it on all of the charts? This is where you have to be careful. I can put it on only one chart. So say I wanted to put something else on this chart only, and you notice the pop-up, unless I pin it, it's just going to be available on every one of these screens because of that setting. But I want it on everything on this page. So now we're going to click that. We're going to come over here. We're going to click the Outlier podcast. And now I have my overlay. Now, this, unfortunately, we're kind of scrunching things together. So we're going to update this. Let's go to studies. We're going to edit the studies. We're going to edit the order blocks. I don't want to see the labels. So we're going to change that. Oops. We're going to change that. We're going to turn that off. We're going to get some real estate back. So now we have some real estate available here. We're going to save the style, and we have the same name. Yes, I want to save it. I want to replace it. And now, because I saved that style and we have it in there, I don't have to update this again. I can just click this button, and now we have everything we need. So just that quick, I am now able to review the outlier stocks for the day. I'm able to see that Citibank is in an order block. I am able to see that Delta Airlines has got an order block sitting above us. Airbnb is entering an order block. ADM, whatever that is, may actually be in clear error. So if the rules lined up, maybe that would be one I would go look at. The SPY, no way. We're not even going to think about that. ALB, they're in an order block. You know, this one, AL, Air Lease, I guess, there's an order block sitting above them. And that order block is only, 15 cents away. We come over here, BRZE, there's an order block sitting above it. So just that fast, I'm able to review 8 stocks instantly and see what the EMA positioning is, whether or not there's order blocks, and whether these would even be of interest to me. So we've got the one that might be interesting. I'm just going to expand this. So I'm going to maximize that sellout. And now I can see we have the 10 over the 20, over the 50, and it happens to be climbing. Now, don't take this. Don't take a trade right now. Just because this one looks good, do not take a trade. The whole market is a total mess right now. Don't put your money in. Sit in cash and don't F up. That's Dave's financial advice for the day. But just that quick, just that easy, we're able to add that. Now, there are some other buttons here. Let's say I want the 1 week chart. Just that quick, I was able to change everything over to the 1 week chart. Or I want a 5-minute chart. How are they doing today? I want to look at my entry maybe. Maybe this does look good and I want to look at when I'm going to get in today. There's a 5-minute. This, to me, is one of the biggest hacks out there. I can click a single button. I can change the time frame of my whole chart so I can get an instant perspective. We look good on the day. How do we look for the week? Hey, look, man, that one's actually coming up. But, just a couple of days ago, it was down pretty good. So, it gives you a quick, instant perspective. You can zoom out. You can look at the big picture instantly.
That's a great way to make sure that you're looking at the same time frame or same period across all your charts too.
100%. And that's what really, truly matters. One of the other things I want to point out here, because we've shown this in some other ones, if you have multiple screens like I do, you can click here. I can drag this down here. So if you have multiple screens and you're running different things, one of the things I do when I do reviews of my stocks, I have a 20 grid on one screen, which is very simple. What are the EMAs? What are the order blocks? I have a 20 grid that goes to a 10 grid, that goes to a 4 grid, that goes to a 1 detailed grid. So as I look at the 20 that I have on my upper screen, if it looks good, I drag it down, I drop it in the 10 grid. And there's some other overlays that I have there. Hey, if they still filter through, I drag them up to the 4. I look even more detail at it. Then I drag them down to my 1. And that's where I start looking at the option chain. I start looking at news. I start looking at other things. but I can quickly and easily just drag them around. Now, with this, once you get this set up, be sure you come up here and you save the workspace, but you also save the flexible grid. So saving the flexible grid, always make sure you do that. Okay, that's your fallback. But if you have multiple screens, especially, save the workspace. Oh, I don't want to trade. I don't want to name it that. We'll say 326 outlier. I don't want to mess up my trading screen. But now you can control quickly and easily your workspaces. I have these workspaces set up below. So I have a workspace set up for watch list review. I can click one button. I can go through. I can do all of that. I have one, then this is the one I launched to, which is my trading view. That gives me what I'm actively in, what I'm actively monitoring for day trading and everything else. I have a second one. I have to launch a second instance of Thinkorswim because Bookmap eats a lot of resources. I run a separate instance of just Bookmap. And for those of you that don't know, we can talk offline about what Bookmap is, but it's a very interesting tool overall. My pre-market. When I come in and sit down in the morning, first thing I do is I click my pre-market. It opens up to all of the screens that I want for pre-market. What happened in the overnight? What did the Nikkei do? What did London do? What's the bond curve look like? What does the Forex look like? What's gold doing? The futures. It gives me all of that in one touch. So saving the workspace makes it quick and easy. I wish I could demonstrate it, but there's no way to demonstrate 4 screens launching simultaneously on a podcast. But take my word for it, it works great. If you have multiple screens, you're going to come over here. You're going to click detach. And I can show that. So when you detach, I now have a complete duplicate of the screen we just created that I can move to any screen that I want. So then I can go in, I can detach that, I can park that someplace, I can create another flexible grid quickly and easily. And from there, I can then move that someplace else. You can get all sorts of different information. You can look at different things. Excuse me, there's a lot of different things available out there. But this is just kind of a quick view of how to help customize flexible grids for your need and kind of work the review flow into, your outlier flow into Thinkorswim. So what questions?
Dave, some terminology here, just to kind of do some reviews, right? We started out by saying that you could get the indicator, the outlier indicator in the Discord channel called FAQ and Member Contributions, right?
Yes.
So we got that indicator and installed it inside Thinkorswim. And then we started talking about styles and then tools and flexible grids. So in which sequence of events during the setup phase would a customer be trying to follow?
So for this, start to learn the platform. Under charts, most people go charts, they click charts, they get this single grid, which works great if you're only looking at one thing. You can add extra windows here. I can say I want, give me a whole bunch of windows. But this doesn't have the flexibility that the flexible grid has. You can make some changes. It doesn't save similarly. You actually have to save the workspace to get this. But this does work great if you're just comparing. I often use this charts tab when I'm testing things. I can quickly come in. I can throw a couple things side by side. Oh, one thing I want to mention. When you go through and do this, if you want to compare things, I want to compare, the same stock, but I want to look at different time frames. I want to look at different studies. I got a couple studies. And I want to compare apples and apples. The linking button here will autofill anything that you have in that. So I just change this to purple. We put Google in. I get Google on both screens. So I can look at we can change this to a 4-hour. So I can have a 4-hour Google chart and a 1-day Google chart just by typing in Google because these are linked. On the flexible grid, I've got mine set up, and this is on the paper side, but I've got mine set up where for my final review, where I look at the stock options and I look at everything else around that, I use that, and I have multiple windows linked. So I have multiple time frames. I have it linked automatically for a different window inside that flexible grid for my options chain, for my news, and for some basic fundamental research. What's the market cap? What's the put call ratio look like? When's the last dividend? When's the next dividend, more importantly? I have all of that set up so I can quickly go in and just take a peek, but all I have to do is enter Google once. One window, it autofills everything, which is a great, great benefit.
Well, these are awesome tips that you brought to us here, Dave. So you showed us typing in a shared, I think it was a shared style, maybe, is that right?
It was actually a shared. I entered a shared indicator, which was the order block 2.0.
Okay.
I put that in, and you're going to get this, a weird looking link, just like this over on the side. You'll get a weird looking link like that in our FAQ under Thinkorswim. That's the link you need. It is case sensitive, so be sure it's very accurately copied. And then you're going to put that in just as you would open a shared item. And this can be, you can share flexible grids, you can share styles, you can share indicators, you can share pretty much everything in Thinkorswim can be shared with someone else, which is great.
Okay, awesome. So then from getting that shared link, that is when it's going to give you all the indicators. And then from there, you can choose to go into a flexible grid mode like you've shown us.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. I see we got another question in there about order block 3. It's not ready to release into the wild quite yet. Soon, very soon. We're still working on that, on a couple of other things in the background on it. And I will release it as an individual, and I will release it as part of the Outlier super indicator that we have, so that everything's encapsulated into one single indicator to make it easy. And then in the settings, we'll have the ability to turn that section on and off based on your own preferences. But yes, we will be putting that out there as soon as I'm ready to release it to the wild.
Okay. We've got another question, Dave. How do you keep the price access setting on auto?
That's a great question. You don't. So this is something I'm always fighting, because I come in, I zoom in on things, and you notice the second I zoomed in, it's no longer on auto. So, I'll zoom in, I'll look at fine details on something, I'll zoom out a little bit. I want to see what's it doing over on the left. If you actually just come over and you double click in the price over on the right, it will automatically reset to automatic. So that's the only hack there. You don't have to come in and hit the drop down. Whoops. You don't have to hit the drop down. You can just come in and click the button. There are other settings, as you just saw here. I don't like them. You'll notice I have all of them turned off. I don't want to fit the high and the low. I don't want to, fit the alerts. I don't want to do any of that. I want the price. Price is what matters in trading. I may have alerts set, $160 for Citibank. I may have it set at $180. I may have my drawings set at $160 or $180 off the chart completely. I don't want it to size to those. I want to see what's happening in here, and I want to be able to see what that candle is telling me. Right now, that candle, as I see it today on Citibank's hedging. This is a doji candle. If I were to look at the book map on it, Citibank is currently hedging their positions right now. The contracts that went out, because we had a bump from here to here and to here, that price is being controlled. When you see a candle that is perfectly uniform like that, where everything is, the price is sitting dead center, it's usually hedging. It's usually the positions that were sold, the contracts that were sold are being hedged on the back end. They're maintaining that price in the short term to cover all of those positions for that. So I want to see what the candle's doing. What is that candle telling me? I look at, the ADM candle. That's awesome. And that's a bullish engulfing candle every day of the week. Don't take the trade. I'm going to keep saying that just because I'm speaking positively of one stock. Remember, that's one of many. And most of them don't look that good right now.
Yeah.
I don't even know, honestly, if this one looks good. When I look at these candles, we had rejection here on the top end. We had rejection here on the top end. You know, we got a little itty bitty wick right now, but there's something sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some reason $73 is a hard barrier here. You know, when we look at that, we'll throw a quick line on here. You know, when I look at that, there's a reason that's there. And look, it lines up almost perfectly with $73. There's a psychological point right there. So there were probably some people that bought. Yep. So let's look back here. There may not be an order block, but man, what do I see over here? I see stuck people. The order block calculated as being up here, but when I zoom out, there's stuck people over here going back to October.
Yeah.
So that tells me there's a lot of absorption that has to happen in that area. But this is why learning to read candles and what they're telling you is so important.
Now, you mentioned alerts, Dave. We have a question about alerts here.
Well,
How do you set up an alert for running into an order block where the 10 crosses the 20 on a 5-minute chart?
Okay. So where the 10 crosses the 20, I don't know that I can create an alert based on a study. I'm almost pretty sure I cannot. Spread stock, no. Or, you know, maybe we can. Maybe we can. So I have not used this. What I would encourage whoever asked that question, and that's a great question. It looks like Brian asked the question. Go in and play in price, study, edit. And then you can go through and build this to do this. Now, I have used this same similar setup for exits when I've had it to say on a day trade, hey, when the 10 crosses the 20, exit me. Pull me out. It's going to pull you out at a market price, so be careful with that. But you know, certain criteria. If the price breaks the 10, get me out. We're done. Those kinds of things. You can go through. You can create these studies, and it's not showing the whole window on here right now, but you can add the conditions. Say, I want the study of a moving average. Whoops, not the ribbon. Study, move av, exponential. I want the, when the average close crosses below the study, and then you add the second study in over here. You're going to have to experiment with that a little bit. Take a look at the Thinkorswim videos online for using studies for exits, because it's going to be the same logic that you're going to apply to create that alert. I've not used that. The way I generally do it is I come in and I create an alert based on a price, or I create an alert. Come on. Here we go. I create an alert based on a drawing. So I can create an alert based on, you can create an alert based on crossing over. And I don't know why it's not doing it right now. But you can go through and you can create alerts based on crossover on objects that you create, trend lines. So
okay.
It's definitely, you're definitely able to do that. I know I do it regularly. Mm-hmm. So you can definitely look at different styles of alerts. I use alerts, not stop losses, on my swing trading. I want to go in and I want to, I want to have it trigger, and I want to be able to go back in and say, what just happened? Hey, it just dropped. It just hit my 2 ATR. Why? Did Trump just tweet? If he just tweeted, the likelihood is I'm going to get maybe a bounce back up. Let's wait and see. I may not want to hit that hard exit. I may not want it to punch me out at that 2 ATR exit because it momentarily hit it. There are a lot of instances where that will happen, and then it'll rebound the very next candle, and you'll be really upset that it did it. So, I use alerts in my trading. The only time I use stop losses is actually when I am day trading, and I've got a lot of movement. I'm picking up smaller margins. I'm not, it's not letting it ride. It's, I'm in and out in minutes. And if it pulls back, I get out.
All right, gotcha. We've got another question that came in. Do you use the ATR script or just use order blocks with the EMA that you showed today?
I use, when I go through and set up my chart, I use let's put the super trend on real quick. Okay, that's right. I got to go to a daily because it's disabled. Okay, so I use the ATRs for my roll points and my exits. That is what, to me, is overall the most critical. I want to see, because all of the sizing, everything is based on those ATRs. So it's based on the 2 ATR being an exit point. I know what my total loss is when it hits that point. I know that's when I say the trade is no longer valid. It's time to get out. So I do use the ATR. Order blocks as a secondary, absolutely. If an order block gets created and we have to deal with something, it's time to get out. ADM here right now, it's sitting in an order block. I wouldn't touch this thing for anything, despite the fact that the weekly looks amazing. We go back to the weekly, it looks good. It's actually punching up over 73 right now on the weekly. The daily, the weekly is not showing any order block, but that daily chart is. So I do use order blocks. I do use the ATRs as my values, and I do throw them on the chart. Now, I don't put the half ATR. I do color code, and this is not my color coding. This is the default from it. But I do color code, white and blue, the ATR lines above. It's red for hard exit, just so I know at a glance, where am I at? How are we looking? I roll not based on necessarily ATR. I actually roll in my rules. I roll at delta. When it hits an 85 delta, then it's time to come out. I go back to the 80 or the 75 delta, whatever makes sense. And that's how I trade with my plan. Nothing wrong with getting out at the half ATR. Chris has got a lot of evidence on that. It's a great way to get out, get some money safe, reduce this position size. It's just his style, and I hit my style. It's just a little bit different. We accomplish the same thing. It's just a different point when we take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it just goes to show that there's multiple ways to trade, and you can find success in any number of ways. As long as you have a personal plan and you follow your plan, you'll have a chance to be successful if you have expectancy.
And that is 100% it. And, your plan, you need to back test it. You need to go through, you really need to review it. Right now, I have a couple of different, I'm actually in the middle because we're slow. Nothing's much as interesting is happening in the market right now. I'm actually going through and reviewing all the plans that I have created, or the strategies that I've created over the last year. I'm looking for what are the best parts of each one of them, what's working the strongest. I'm comparing it to what's it doing in the growth stocks, what's it doing in the value stocks. Do I see a sector difference? What do I see overall? And I'm not looking necessarily back at my the last trades. I'm looking at the equities overall. How did they perform in outlier? How did they perform in my study? Where is that fine tuning that we can do to maintain, quite frankly, that edge and that expectancy rate? So always be looking, always be reviewing, never be complacent. The market today is 100% different than it was at the beginning of February.
Yeah, exactly.
Things change because the world changes.
Yeah. So let's get to our last question, Dave. Is there a drawing set template to load for different ATR lines?
Oh, God, I wish there was. I really genuinely wish there was. Okay. So that is something I believe in TradingView that you do have. I do believe that's something that Deep Thought has maybe created or mentioned in the past. Unfortunately, there isn't. So, what you have to do here is you have to come in and you have to say, okay, here's my price level because this is red. I'm going to say the exit 78.16. Come on. Done. Exit. Done. Oh, I'm sorry. That was see, and this is where my color coding throws me off. So we're going to make that blue, and we'll say that's the 2 ATR instead. See, but just that fast, I can change it. Come in, you create your line, edit. Now you notice I'm not putting it where it should be on the chart. I'm just coming in and I'm creating a line, and then okay, it's not showing a -2 ATR, so we'll show a -1 ATR. And this, by the way, as I said, this is completely customizable. So you can change where all of these ATR values calculate to, all of that. But now I have, and let's throw one more on here. Let's throw one more on here. We're going to edit, and I'm going to say entry. Entry, always green. Done. So now, just that quick, I have 3 separate lines on my chart that tell me what I need to do and not need to do based on that chart. So if it continues up, I know when it hits my delta, when I take a look at that and figure that out, I get out. Now, you can set alerts. So let's go EDM. You can set alerts on your chain here. So let's say we bought the June. I'm just going to grab one here. So I apologize. This is my paper trading side, and we have the fonts blown up a bunch, so I can't really see. So, okay. So I am going to create an alert, a delta at or above, let's put 88. So now, if this was my option, if this was the option I bought, when that delta hits that point, it's going to send me an alert saying, hey, time to roll. So
you're gonna get that alert through email, is that right?
Well, see, that's the beauty of it. I can set it up. I can set this alert up to do lots of things. I want delta, let's punch in 90 just to be different this time. No, I want notify me with a sound, send me an email. Okay, because we're on paper trading, we don't have access to the other features, but I can have it send it an email. I can have it send text message during the market. I can have it send text messages after the market. I can say in that message, send me the following information. So send me the delta, send me the bid ask, send me, the volume, what's happening here, all of those things. You can also go back in and you have other options. You can say, submit it now, or, this is going to be a couple of days, submit it tomorrow. I don't want it to go off. I don't want to listen to it if it gets there. Or I don't want to do anything else today because I'm trading in a cash account and I can't trigger a pattern day trade today by exiting and rolling into a new position on one I just created. So I'm going to wait till tomorrow. So you can set it and have it go off tomorrow. If you set a price thing, you can say, hey, look, alert me every time it bounces up and down over this price for reverse cross. Maybe just create a silent alert or a regular alert with that. Now, unfortunately, when you set this, even though it says when this alert is triggered, do the following, it's going to apply to all of your alerts. So if you don't want to be inundated with emails and text messages and everything else, be cognizant of how you send them to yourself. You also can create custom sounds. You can upload WAV files in here and build in your own custom sounds. So, during the trading day, if you're getting little regular alerts, you can upload a very specific sound that triggers that says, hey, wait, that's a live trade. That's one I need to pay attention to. That's not a scanner that's adding tickers because 10 stocks crossed a 10 EMA. No, this is real. This is one I have to pay attention to. So you do have a lot of options inside of the alerts. So it's something to consider. But you can come in, you can set it on basically any criteria in here. So I can say, hey, when the bid ask is below, I want to know when the bid ask is below 1095. So I want to wait for pullback before I enter today. You can set that alert. It'll pop off and see what you're going to do. So there's a lot of different ways you can use this, truly.
Awesome, Dave. Well, we've reached the end of our time here, and we got through a lot of questions and great participation. Thanks for everybody for joining us. But we'll go ahead and we'll close it out, and we'll look for a new session here, Dave. Especially when you have, I think it's version 3 of the order blocks ready to publish. We'll do a video on that one for sure.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for joining, Dave. This has been awesome. I really appreciate your Thinkorswim knowledge.
Happy to share. Truly happy to share. And as always, everybody, you got Thinkorswim questions, anything at all like that, feel free to drop them in the chat. Feel free to let me know. We're always looking for what the next video should be as well. So, please let Joe know, please let me know, and we're happy to add on and do a more detailed one. I can get in and we could do a charting class. We can do an options class. We can do a bunch of other classes in here to help everybody out. Because at the end of the day, I want everybody to be successful traders. And
yeah, absolutely.
the platform is a huge key to that.
Yeah. And like we said, Outliers giving us the signals, and we're getting tickers from those signals. It's what's the next step, right? It's actually making the trade, right? And then following up with your journaling and recording your trade and being able to watch your ATR lines. So Thinkorswim is definitely a good platform to do that with, and really appreciate you giving us the ropes.
Yeah, happy to.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Have a good one. See y'all later.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.